Welcome back to Team FastEddy. We're going to take a look at the castle conversion, probably the second to the last video in the series. And what we're going to do now is to run our wires. Now that we've got all the connectors onto our motor and all the connectors and everything soldered up to our electronic speed control and our batteries and whatnot, which we covered in the last video, we're going to start to route the wires. You can do it in many different ways. This is just the way that I've chosen to do it. I've taken my, see if we can show it on the camera here, taken my fan wires and put a little wire tie around them and brought them down behind the, see if we can see here, behind the, you can't see on the camera, behind the spur gear cover, and I'm routing them down around the side and down the side of the chassis here to the radio box. And I've chosen to keep them all together. I'm using some little plastic wire wrap that I got over at the hardware store, and it just makes things nice and clean. We're going to go ahead and run the wires in through the radio box and plug them into the appropriate spot on your receivers. Now all receivers are different. There's many different styles and types, so I'm not really going to tell you where to plug what in. However, the electronic speed controller, the ESC, which is the wire that runs back that has 3 wires with it, not just 2 but 3, is the one that goes into the throttle. And then the steering was going to go into whichever channel your steering goes into. And then you have 2 fan plugs. If you only have one leftover plug area, you'll need to get a Y adapter and plug the 2 fans in together to get them in their radio. If you have a 4-channel radio system, or I'm sorry, a 3-channel, you'll be able to have 4 spaces to plug them into. Once all that's done, make sure they're all routed, and you're going to go ahead and put your battery box top back on, and this part of the build is complete. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and move on to the installation of the batteries. The first step on installation on the batteries is to make sure that you have them all properly charged up. Again, there's so many different chargers out there, so many different methods that they use and whatnot, that I'm not going to go over battery charging with you. However, there's a huge amount of information available either from your battery manufacturer, your charger manufacturer, or on the internet. We're using a Hyperion dual charger here so we can charge both batteries at the same time. And we have chosen for this particular project to use the MaxAmps batteries, and they are the MaxAmps 6500s, and they're the race edition. And they are also Roar approved in case we decide to go do some racing. We had ordered these. We ordered them with a larger gauge wire on there than they would normally use for an 1/8 scale. So if you're going to order these from MaxAmps, I would suggest that you contact them directly and let them know that you're using it in the Baja so that they can put the proper wires on there. And then we also chose the 6.5 millimeter bullet connectors because that's what we're using on this build with the ESC and whatnot. So everything is all matched up together. The other thing that you're going to want to do is to make sure that you properly balance your batteries, because you are dealing with 4-cell batteries here, and we have 2 of them. So it is important that you do properly balance them. So we're going to go ahead now and install our batteries and get this portion of the build underway. The castle kit comes, the conversion kit comes with a little very dense styrofoam pad, and this is going to be for the chassis where the batteries can go ahead and rest on them, because there is some metal bolts down here, and without a pad or something to lift them up, your batteries can get damaged. So we're going to go ahead and slide that down in there, and it fits directly down inside. With the MaxAmps Race Edition batteries, one thing I didn't mention a second ago is we chose a hard pack on these. They actually have a a plastic box around them, which is going to help keep them from getting damaged. With the Bajas and or any RC, they take a lot of abuse out there, and you're going to want to make sure that they're well protected. The batteries themselves are going to sit side by side right inside the area where your fuel tank went, and you can mount them with either the connectors going backwards or forward. It's up to you and on how you want to do your installation. So I'll suggest that you lay everything out first and decide how you want to do it. They rest right in here. Now, if you remember back to when we opened up the kit, Castle provided us with 2 straps. We've been laying this out and playing around with it, and we can really only get one strap to fit properly. There's really only one location that we could find. However, you can put the 2 straps in the same location for double the holding power, and you know, they should stay in just fine. We've been picking them up and wiggling them and turning our car over. The best way that we have found to do this is to come up through the side brace here underneath the tray. We're just going to come up like so with the strap, and we're also going to do the same on the other side. And you can put both of them in there at the same time if you would like. I'm also going to, at this point, actually latch it together, and just to where it barely touches. We're not going to put the batteries on top of the strap on the bottom here around, because what happens is when you tighten it up, it's going to lift it off the base of the chassis there. So what we're actually going to do is put the battery in like this, so both straps are on the top. Again, this is something that you're going to have to play around with and come up with to do how you want to do it. There's many different ways out there. You may even want to use some different Velcro straps of your own. And again, that's all up to you. So we're going to go ahead and install our batteries here. A little bit tricky to get in and around the strap, but we'll manage. Might have to undo the strap a little bit. Okay. At that point, we're going to go ahead and buckle it up and cinch it in. These are a little bit elastic, and I kind of like that. I'm going to push the batteries all the way forward. Going to pull the strap as forward as we can get it. Going to go ahead and pull on it and lock it down. If I was paying attention, I would have made my castle in the right direction. But that's not a big deal. That's going to strap your batteries in fairly tight. What I'm also going to recommend is there is a gap here. And what I'm going to recommend is you find yourself some good, hard, dense foam rubber, or even maybe some cardboard if you can't find that. And go ahead and put that foam rubber down to hold those batteries from sliding forward. The tighter they can be in there, the better. I did find that they were a little bit loose at the back, but not that much. Also, the depth on there, if you put a bracing in the front, there's no way that that's going to be able to come out with the depth of the battery. So again, this is how we're doing it on this particular build, and it's up to you to make sure that they are fully secured in there, because they are a heavy-duty battery, and you're not going to want them to eject. So that's up to you. That's how we did it. Now you have 2 choices on how you want to run your batteries. We have 2 of them in here. You can just run on one battery if you would like. However, 2 batteries has dual purposes. The first purpose is, depending on how you wire it, you can double the amount of runtime that you get, or you can double the amount of power that you get with the 2 batteries, depending on how you wire them together. If you want to double your runtime, you're going to take the red wire from one battery, the red wire from the second battery, and you're going to get a Y connector to hook the 2 reds together, and then hook them to your red ESC. And then you're going to do the same for the black. You're going to get a Y connector and plug your 2 blacks together, and then plug those into the black wire on your ESC. The second way to do it is to double your power. And what we're going to do on that is we're going to link the two batteries together, positive to negative. Now MaxAmps has a adapter, which is basically two male plugs. And one is got red on it and the other side black. So what we're going to do from one battery is plug the red into the red, plug the black into the black. And we're going to secure this little adapter up out of the way so it's not flopping around. We found that's a pretty easy way to do it. And then at that point we're going to go ahead and connect the red to the red and the black to the black on the ESC. So that's how you're going to hook up your batteries. The next portion of this video is going to be plugging it in and getting it going. I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera off now, and before I finish up this portion, I've done a few modifications and whatnot, which I'm going to go ahead and install now so that my car is functioning here and we can show you how to do the startup and to get it going. So hang loose, and I'll be back in just a few seconds on the video, and we're going to go ahead and plug it in and get it running.